Right, good evening, people. My name is JR. I am the FR Gunner. I'm joined here by Jessica today, aka Jacinho, aka She Knows Arsenal. How are you today?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me and can't wait to talk about our wins. So yeah, let's do it.
Great victory today. We've been watching, obviously, Arsenal demolish Sheffield United. So it's finished Sheffield United 0, Arsenal 3. Great result before the quarterfinal. Let's start from the beginning because it hasn't been happy days recently for the Arsenal. We both know that. But we got the victory today. What did you think of the starting lineup?
Yeah, I thought it was fine considering the injuries. I actually thought it was stronger than I anticipated. Like I thought we would see a really rotated squad, like El Neni starting, things like that. But to see Thomas and Xhaka, I was like, okay, I think that's a good idea. We don't want to show the other team that we're just completely not taking this seriously. And I think it was a good idea considering you had some people in the squad that I think need some confidence. I think if you put them out there with a completely rotated squad, it'll feel like, wow, I only get to play when nothing matters, like Pepe or Ceballos. So, and they're going to be important going towards the end of the season, so we want them to be confident. So that lineup to me was a good mixture of players that need confidence and rotated players and youngsters. And I think it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, one player I was very happy to see was obviously Martinelli. I think it's been a long time in waiting to see him actually start a match. Obviously, he got, I think, 10 minutes against Slavia Prague the other day, but it was good to see him start. I think he needed that. We were talking about confidence. I think he needed that. He's come back from a long-term injury. I think what was interesting for me was seeing Xhaka at left back, which was quite interesting, but it worked out, to be fair.
It did. It really did work out. And I think, against Sheffield is kind of like one of those teams where they're slower, they're not going to beat us for pace. So having Xhaka, Holding and Chambers and Mari is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good combination between, him and Ceballos and Martinelli over there on that left-hand side. And we've been calling for Martinelli. I was very scared that if Martinelli wasn't in the lineup, the fans would start to riot.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see him. Energy levels were amazing. They always are. And the more playing time that he gets, I think the better he'll become. So I'm totally happy about seeing him in the lineup. And of course he got the goal. So I loved it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, when I first looked at the starting lineup, I kind of felt that, like you were saying, if Martinelli didn't start today, I felt that a lot of the fans would turn on Arteta. I think he definitely deserves an opportunity. And one thing I wanted to say was he gives an energy when he plays. He gives an energy. He makes things happen. Especially in that first half, he got the cross in. He was getting shots up into the box. He looked like a guy on a mission, which was really positive for him. It was obviously great for him to get the goal as well. I was a bit concerned, obviously, with Aubameyang and Emile Smith-Rowe, obviously being injured before the match. But I understand Aubameyang is just a case of flu. Hopefully, that's not COVID. But yeah, I heard it's just a flu, and Emile Smith-Rowe is an ankle injury. So I'm hoping they can recover in time for the quarterfinals against Slavia Prague. I felt the first half we were going through the motions. If I'm honest with you, the first half felt like a team that did lack confidence after the Liverpool match and after Slavia Prague. I think going into the Slavia Prague match previously, it was evident that the losing to Liverpool in the way we did really knocked our confidence. And I didn't really want to bring that into the Sheffield United match. I felt we did start off quite slow. But also as well, Sheffield United are a team that lack a bit of confidence at the moment. So it was a great time to play them,
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, it was a good time to play them. Yeah, I think everything that you said is completely spot on. And I can't imagine this team having confidence after the last couple of results that we've had. I think we lost against Olympiacos, even though we went through, we lost against them. We tied West Ham after playing horrifically in the first 30 minutes. Liverpool game, like it's just been a mixed bag of results. players in and out because of injury or whatever. So I think that it was to be expected that they would lack a little bit of confidence, especially because this lineup hasn't really played with each other and the tactics were different than something I've seen from Arteta before. So I expected the lack of confidence, and I think it took us a little bit of time. And then once we got going, we started to look really good.
Yeah.
But it was with this team, it's really 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 45 minutes here. And I can't really tell you the last time that we played 90 minutes looking good. So that's definitely something to look forward to next season. But yeah, I expected that lack of confidence based on the last couple results.
Yeah. I mean, one player I've been highly critical of is Ceballos. You know, for me personally, he's a luxury player. I've been saying on numerous occasions where he can do a great ball, but sometimes he switches off. And he switches off at the wrong time. But so when I did see him start, I was concerned, but fair play to him. You know, he assisted the first goal, and he played well today. And, you know, the key thing that we got today, which I think was positive, was the clean sheet. It's obviously been 14 games that we've had without a clean sheet. So it was good today to get that, you know, and good for Ceballos. Yeah, he played well. Fair play to him, to be fair.
Yeah, he's just like every other player on this team lacking confidence. But when he lacks confidence, it takes away from his entire game. His entire game is about getting the ball. And a lot of times he takes more touches than he probably should. When he's confident, it looks great. When he's not confident, he's detrimental to everything that we're trying to do because he's too close to the goal to be playing like that. Really, you know, playing in that pivot, it's scary having him near the goal, you know, in the center of midfield, touching the ball too many times. So, you know, I think Ceballos, he's been a real disappointment for me. I was a big advocate for him from the moment that I knew we were going to loan him in, you know, when Emery was here. I really liked the player, but I think the league is just not suited for somebody like him. He takes way too many touches on the ball. He's really slow. And I think the kind of like the inconclusive nature of where he's going to be next season is playing with his mind. I can't imagine what it feels like being him, knowing that he probably won't make the Spain squad for the Euros. He's still on loan from Real Madrid and they don't want him back. So what is his future like? You know, I can't imagine being a player at 24 years old, not really knowing where my career is going. So I think that might be playing with his mind, but today he was okay. That being said, we definitely need to just let him go ahead and go back to Madrid after this season.
Really? You feel that? So this is his last season with Arsenal, you feel?
Even if we can't get Ødegaard, I think we need to go in a different direction. I know that some people feel like it's, well, if we can't get Ødegaard, then get Ceballos on a cut price deal because they pretty much will give him to us for 20 million or so. But ultimately his profile is not right. And after seeing Ødegaard, we know we need something closer to that. I think we deserve more. And so, no, I wouldn't bring him in full time, even though I like the player. I just don't think it's the right fit.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that, you know, for the first season, Ceballos, for me, he was a decent signing. He looked like he could develop here at Arsenal. I thought it would be a good move for him. I thought he would be better in his second season, and it hasn't really worked out for him. And also as well, you mentioned Ødegaard. I kind of felt that Ødegaard's really shown what we kind of need. When he came in January, you saw the level that we actually required. And I don't think Ceballos has really hit those levels, to be quite honest. So yeah, I fully agree with you. I think he's a player that we kind of have to get rid of at the end of the season. Thank God it was only a loan.
Right.
But one thing I wanted to mention, obviously the Balaguer, it looks like we're going to sign him on a long-term deal, hopefully 4 years, which is positive because I'm a big fan of Balaguer. How do you feel about that?
You know, thank God it's over. That's pretty much how I feel. I think it's just one of those situations where you want to see it conclude one way or another. You know, I haven't seen a lot of him, but I can't imagine that a team of or a club of Arsenal stature would spend almost a year trying to get an 18-year-old that hasn't really played for the first team that often tied down to a contract if he's not good. He has to be good. You know, the club is chasing him down, trying to make sure that they get him permanently, make sure his deal doesn't run down. And he always said he wanted to stay at the club, which is a good thing. And I think we're on the cusp of another Project Youth. not
Yeah.
because that's probably what Arteta wants, but it's because what Arteta is going to get based on the limited funds and the fact that the senior players that we have are unreliable. So having another player like Balaguer, having Martinelli come through and being able to cut corners maybe in the summer without having to get a striker, maybe not having to get a center back by bringing Saliba in, will give us the opportunity to maybe get somebody like Ødegaard for 50 million. So I think it works all the way around, and whether he stays long-term as a solidified first team member, or we give him some playing time and we sell him for a fee, it's a positive for us. So I'm ecstatic about it.
Okay. Seeing as we're on the topic of transfers, I just wanted to throw out 4 names to you, and I just want you to tell me keep or sell
Okay.
at the end of the season. So first one I'm gonna throw out to you is Eddie Nketiah. Would you keep or would you sell him at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Eddie, so definitely sell. I think it's definitely time for him to go. I think he's a good player, just not Arsenal level, and yeah, it's time to go.
Okay, no, fair enough. Another player, Reece Nelson.
I mean, is there a loan option in this? Or, I think
Now
with
you're
Reece, he
changing my
needs a
game.
loan. I mean, if I have to choose between keep or sell, I would say sell, but
Yeah,
I'd much rather loan him out and
yeah, give him.
see. I just want to give him one more chance to try. He's a very
Yeah, sure.
talented player. And I think he has the ceiling of somebody that could play for Arsenal. He's just not reaching it. Whereas Eddie, his ceiling is so much lower, and I think we can part with him at this time.
This time,
So.
okay, no, fair enough. I agree with that. I think Reece Nelson he's got bags of enthusiasm. He's someone who, again, his energy makes things happen. I kind of feel he's a bit in limbo. I don't know if you're right. I think a loan would be good for him just to see if he can reach those levels that we require at Arsenal. I really do feel he's got one more season though, to show what he's made of. If it doesn't work out, then I feel it's time for him to move on. Eddie, completely right. You got to go, mate. He's not at the level that we kind of need. Bags of energy, but he's just not clinical enough for the Arsenal first team. And he's just not good enough. And I think also as well, being an England under 21 player, I think we can get some money for him as well. So
100%.
Seize that opportunity. Another player, a bit of a weird one because he scored 2 goals today. But Lacazette, I mean, it's his last season, I believe, in 2022. Do we keep or sell?
We have to sell at this point. I mean, because we can't re-sign him. He's on the wrong side of. I know he's going to be 30 probably in a couple months or something like that, but he's on the wrong side of 30, if that's what you want to call it. He's not somebody that we can keep around. I think the options are sell or let him run his deal down. He cannot be re-signed, and I would prefer us get some money for him because he's in decent form. Arteta's put him in a role where he looks like he can be effective, dropping in deep and getting the ball, and he's scoring goals. But there's an upgrade there. If watching the game today, you could just see we lack mobility up front with somebody like him. I think Aubameyang, as fast as he is, he lacks the ability to come deep and be a part of buildup. Lacazette doesn't have the mobility. So I think we need to upgrade on him, whether that's Balaguer or going out in the market or Martinelli. I don't know, but we got to sell Lacazette. And if you gave me 15 million for him, I'd probably bite your hand off for it.
15, did you say? 1-5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's on the wrong side of 30. You're right. I'd hope to get at least 20 million. I'd try to push it for at least 20 million. But if that money can go towards signing a player like Ødegaard, why not do it? Last player I'm just gonna put in the field is Hector Bellerin. Is that a keep or sell for you?
Oh, it's definitely a sell. And I'm pretty sure, knowing Arteta and how close they are in their relationship or whatever, for him not to be getting playing time at this point, I just have to think that he's out the door. I think he's a good player. The fact that teams like Barcelona and PSG are interested in him should let you know that. He's just at the point in his career where it's time to take the next step and go. Like, it's just time to move on, and it's not a negative thing. It's not a bashing Bellerin thing. It's just time and we need something different in that position. I don't think Bellerin, Chambers, or Cedric have what we need. And I think that is definitely a position that we need to upgrade. And like you said, you know, there's a level in which Arsenal require, and I don't think we're hitting that in our central midfield positions at right back or right-sided center back. So those are positions that I think we need to look at. And right back, just we need a Tierney on the right-hand side, you know, in terms of levels. Maybe it's a different profile,
100%.
but levels for sure.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Right. Okay. No, I like your feedback. That was spot on, to be fair. Let's go back to the match. So obviously Lacazette scored 2 goals today. Played well, to be fair. Does what he does best, which is bring other people into play. Martinelli obviously got his goal as well, which was good, positive for him. In terms of Sparta Prague, just looking ahead, do either of those players, do they start for you, Lacazette or Martinelli?
Yeah, I think I'd said on my instant reaction that my instant feeling is Martinelli starts. He has to start against Slavia Prague, not Lacazette, because again, Slavia Prague is just one of those teams where you need speed in behind. We saw that as soon as Aubameyang and Pepe came in the game, it was obvious that that is the combination that we need to have. So I personally would start Martinelli and Aubameyang and Pepe against Slavia Prague and just run at them. I don't think Arteta will do that, but Martinelli definitely needs to start for me against Slavia Prague.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, to be quite honest, I felt that Martinelli should have been starting from a while back. So when it comes to the matches like Slavia Prague, he's ready, so to speak, you know. But I fully agree with you. When Aubameyang came on, and even Pepe the other day, when they came on against Slavia Prague, you saw, I think that was the last 15 minutes of the match. They turned the match around. Those 2 players, Aubameyang came on like a player with a point to prove, and I respected it, to be quite honest. I think he needed to do that. I think his performances of recent haven't been the best, so it was good to kind of see him make that change, obviously get the assist. When we talk about Aubameyang, I wanted to just briefly touch upon his captaincy. Do you feel that is he the right guy for you to be captain for Arsenal?
No, I mean, like the thing about it is like we all know that he wasn't supposed to be captain. If you know deep down, like, come on, he shouldn't be captain, but we were trying to placate him because we wanted him to sign the contract, right? You know, so it was a concession that we made in order to get something done that in hindsight we probably could make arguments about why we shouldn't have done it. But the captaincy for me, for Arsenal, has been a joke for a while. I know a lot of people feel like it's not that important, but I tend to disagree. When the players that I watch have that captain's armband were Tony Adams and Patrick Vieira. So it's not a joke to me. And I just think it's just been given to anybody. And maybe the weight of that captain's armband is also hindering Aubameyang from being able to just score goals, because that's all we really need from him, right? We just need him to put the ball in the back of the net. We don't really need him to be a leader, but when you task him with it, it might be something that's holding him back. The only issue is, who do you give it to if you don't give it to him? You know, I think the natural choice is Xhaka, but can you give it to him after what he did, throwing the armband down? You know, can you give it to Luiz? Will the fans, you know, be okay with that? Can you give it to Tierney? He's barely available because he's always injured. So, I mean, no, he's not the right guy, but who is the right guy then?
Yeah, you hit a point there. I was thinking about who would be, because for me personally as well, I think that Aubameyang he's not a captain. He's someone who leads by example by getting the goals, but he's not a leader. He's not a leader on the pitch, and I think that's what you need. Sometimes you see KT or Kieran Tierney shouting on the pitch, galvanizing the players, telling people where to go, etc. You know, even David Luiz as well. You get that from him as well. You know, you don't get that from Aubameyang. He kind of leads by getting the goals. And I think it was a huge mistake by Arsenal, to be quite honest, to give him the captaincy. Xhaka, you're right. I think personally, and it's going to shock a few people, Xhaka is captain material. The problem is his temperament. You know, that was from the last time when he was dropped as captain, and the issue that arose then, you saw that his temperament at times is not quite there, and also his relationship with the fans kind of hinders him from being an actual. Yeah, it makes it difficult to go back there. If it was me personally, I would go. It's a tough one because, like you said, Kieran said if he was fit, I would make him captain. He's definitely a captain. The problem with him is that he has difficulty staying fit. David Luiz, for me, we've got a show called the Chuckle Brothers that I grew up with. He's a calamity type of guy, and for me, he's a leader, but sometimes he kind of lets himself down by just making that silly mistake. And also as well, I think he's on the wrong side of 30. So
ideally he shouldn't. I'm sorry, just really quick. Ideally, he shouldn't be playing this amount of games.
Yeah.
So your captain has to be playing the majority
100%.
of the games, and the only person that really does that on a regular basis, well, there's two. There's Aubameyang and Xhaka.
Yeah.
And neither of them are. If Arteta could choose, he would choose Xhaka, but he knows he just can't do it because of the fans. So again, we don't have a captain.
Yeah, it's a problem. You know what? Arteta could do that, I feel, if his results started to become more consistent, because then the fan base would start listening to him. Right now, I was looking at some amazing stats, which showed that Emery's actually got a better after about 78 games. So I think Arteta's played about 76 games, managed 76 games for Arsenal. Emery, I think he was sacked on 78, but he had a win rate of 55%. He was sacked when we were in 8th position, and we were 8 points off top 4. Now I think we were 11th before this match. Now we're in 9th position. Arteta's got a win rate of 54%, so just slightly less than Emery, the guy who was sacked. And I think we're about 10 points away from top 4, Do you trust the process?
I trust the idea of what he's trying to do, but ultimately I don't know if he'll be able to get it done. I guess what I'm saying is that I do like the idea of tearing it down, starting over, bringing in players like Thomas Partey and Gabriel and things like that, and having a young manager with new and fresh ideas. The issue is that the scenario in which he came into the club in, and now where we are with the pandemic and the type of ownership that we have, I'm just not sure if the project can be completed, because at a certain point, the results need to match up. And if they don't match up in a certain period of time, they'll sack him before we even get anything done. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, where it's like, there's this almost like anticipation of him having to be closer to top 4 next season. Let's say if we don't win the Europa League, from in December of next season, he'll need to be almost in top 4, if not like very close to it. But my question is, if you're not going to give him the resources to get there, then why even start this project at all? You can't expect him to have relatively the exact same team and get closer to top 4 when other teams are improving as well in a couple of months. So if they're not going to back him properly, which I don't feel like they have, then what's the point of doing all this? A new and inexperienced manager needs better resources, because you need to be able to paper over the cracks of their mistakes. So that's just my apprehension about it. Is I think Arteta's a good coach. I think he obviously needs work on his man management. Those things come in time. But if they're not going to give him the players that will enable him to play the system that he wants to play in, and he's going to have this same team, then why would you expect him to be close to top 4? Because he won't be with this team. He won't be. So do I trust the process? I trust what they're trying to do. I understand what they're trying to do, but I'm not sure if it's going to get done or not, because it's a big job and he's such a new manager, so
he's very fresh. So if we're, and I don't want to wish it, but if we finish 9th, we get knocked out next week against Slavia Prague. So we've effectively got nothing to really play for. Would you want him to stay in for the next season?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Not because I think that it's okay to be in ninth and it's okay to be outside of European competition. That's not what I'm saying. Not accepting mediocrity. I know that's the thing. That's like the buzz phrase. It's if you're okay with Arteta staying, then you're okay with mediocrity. I'm not. But what I'm saying is that, like, I'm looking at the managers that are available, looking at the players that we have, and I'm just thinking, what manager is going to come in and deal with this mess? Because then you have Arteta players, Emery players, Wenger players still,
Yeah.
and we're outside of Europe. What manager is going to take that on without assurances about basically being able to overhaul it? So I think with the young players that we have coming through and the idea that Arteta is a really good coach, which he is, I'm hoping that we'll be in a position where he can develop the young players that we have. And maybe, we're not as competitive, or we're not in the top 4 next season, but maybe we're in top 6, we're just more competitive, and we have a younger team with a less crazy wage bill, so I would like to see him stay, but that's not accepting mediocrity. I do feel like the results at a certain point need to start adding up.
100%. I kind of feel like, because he was so fresh, I think this was his first full kind of season to kind of experiment. We went through that bad patch, I think it was between November and December, where we had no creativity at all. Obviously, we got Ødegaard in, and then Emil Smith-Rowe came in and done a wonderful job. But he was experimenting within that time, and I think he deserved that right to experiment. I think the fact that he won us the FA Cup in his first season was great, and I think that gave him some extra time as well. But yeah, you're right. He's fresh. He is fresh, and even though his results are comparable to Emery's, it's weird. I see something in Arteta that I believe he deserves more time, and I don't know if I trust the process, but I'm going to go along with the process at the moment. And you're right. As a tactician, I think he's great, and he's a quick learner as well. I think he's still got a lot to learn. I think sometimes he's slow with the substitutions, but he's definitely going in the right direction. And even if we don't, do as well as I hope this season, I think he deserves more time. I think he definitely deserves more time, and he warrants more time, definitely. Can I just say that third goal for Arsenal, when I don't know if you saw where the Partey done the quick feint, quality, and then Lacazette put in the back of the net. Sorry, I've just jumped there, but I just remember it. What a quality goal! What a quality goal! And that's another player I want to see come kind of step it up a bit. I know he's had a few injuries, but Thomas Partey, we kind of all know what he can do, but we just want him to do it now.
Everybody that knows me knows I'm like a huge Thomas Partey fan. That's the one player that I'm like, every Arsenal fan has a player that can almost do no wrong in their eyes. Like, you always backing them, and he's the player for me. I've always said that, I feel like Arsenal fans, we can't have anything nice, because we get a world-class player in here and we think he's supposed to come in from a completely different system, league, team, everything, and just come in and change absolutely everything about Arsenal. And I think to a certain extent, you would expect that if you pay the amount of money that you did for Thomas, but you have to think about the environment that he's in, and is it conducive for him to do the same things that he did at Atletico? Look at the midfield that he was playing with, Saul and Koke and these types of players. That's Jota and Ceballos and these kind of guys. El Neni are not the same, so I just want to give him more time. I think he's a game changer for us. I think when you have somebody like him in your midfield, you are a different question to the opposition. You're more imposing on the opposition. Whereas when you have Danny and El Neni, you're a little bit susceptible to being ran over. And I do want to see him step it up more. I was very disappointed in the game that he played against Slavia Prague. I could not back him after that. I was like, he's atrocious. But there were people saying, he was horrible in the Spurs game. That was not true. He was horrible in the West Ham game. Not true at all. Statistically, eye test wise, he wasn't. I just think that there's this, he's not doing Bruno things. He's not like Bruno. And I know that that's what you think. When you spend that amount of money on a midfielder, you expect them to take the team on their back, change everything. But every single player is not Bruno, and they don't have the same impact. You have to think about the types of players that they're playing with and think about the totality of the situation. And I think Thomas Partey is going to change us for the better next season when he has proper midfielders around him, time to adapt, and his fitness is up to standard. But that pass that he made to Lacazette was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not shocked that he did it, because I know that that's the type of player that he is.
Yeah.
So let's just give him time, guys. Let's just give him time. He's gonna be great, you know. But that pass was crazy.
It was a great pass. So let's go on to Thursday then. Thoughts? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Of course we can do it. Of course. There's, you know,
will we do it? That's more of the question. Will we do it? What Arsenal will turn up? That's my thing. You know, is it? I think it was definitely good today for the confidence. We needed that. We needed to bring it back. We needed a good result. We needed a clean sheet. The clean sheet was crucial. But it depends what Arsenal turns up. We need the confidence, and also as well, we need Saka to not be injured as well. Hopefully, you know, because that did look not great. Hopefully, it's just a dead leg, and he will be able to play. It will be good to see Emile Smith-Rowe come back, Ødegaard as well. We've got a few injuries, but yeah, what do you feel? Do you think we can do it against Slavia Prague?
I think we can do it. I mean, they were not great though. So I think, you know, we need to take that into consideration, that there is another level to Slavia Prague. So if they turn it up, we definitely have to turn it up, but we definitely were underperforming in that game. So I would expect us to play better. I mean, it's do or die. You know, this is the most important game of our season. You don't win this, you don't go through, and it's just a nightmare from here on out. So I think if Arteta picks the right team, sets us up in a way where we can, you know, get in behind and play with speed, I think we'll be good. Just pick the right players, and one of Emile Smith-Rowe or Ødegaard needs to be available. 100%. I feel like that's key. I know Saka is important, and I would love for him to be available, but if he's not, I feel perfectly comfortable with Pepe, but I don't feel comfortable with no 10 whatsoever. You know, so one of Ødegaard or Smith-Rowe needs to be available for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the issues that we had on the back of last year. You know, we had no number 10, and obviously Ozil wasn't playing, and we had no creativity.
Nobody wants to see William play 10. You know, that's a nightmare. You know, but so
no, not as number 10. But to be fair, the guy is our top assister, but that's another story. But the stats show that he's our top assister. But yeah, I don't want to see William on the pitch, to be quite honest, on that match this week against Slavia Prague. Ideally, no disrespect to him, but you know, I want to see the energy from the young guys pushing forward. And I think, the pace, if we can get that pace going forward at the Slavia Prague defense, we should shoot them down. So hopefully we can, in fact, we will do it. We've got to be confident, and we've got to go for it. And we've got to stay switched on. There's too many times that we've seen a player get sent off for something stupid, or a silly back pass, or, you know, trying to play out from the back and it doesn't quite work. We need none of that. We need to be fully awake, and we can definitely do it. What's your predictions for Thursday then? What's the score going to be, Jessica?
I always go for 2-1. I think it'll be 2-1 or something like that. You know,
that's way too close for Arsenal though. 2-1 for Arsenal.
It's too close, but I just feel like, you know, I would love to be more like 3-1, 4-1, but I think it'll be 2-1 or something close like that. But I think we'll go through regardless. You know, we should have way too much for them, and you know, we're desperate. We have to win the Europa League. I think we don't have to, not for Arteta to stay or anything, but just for the sanity of this fan base, we need to win the Europa League, because it's getting like a nut house around here now.
100%. And you know what, if we don't win on Thursday, I don't know what I'll do with the rest of this year, to be quite honest, or rest of this season, sorry. We need to do this, to be quite honest. And I think we will. I'm hoping for a 3-1 victory. I'm gonna throw it out there, and hopefully we can do it. Listen, it's been a pleasure to speak to you today. Where can the viewers find your footage and your works? But tell them a bit more about you.
Yeah, you guys, you can follow me on Twitter at It's Jacinho. On Instagram as well at It's Jacinho. It's the exact same thing. So you can follow me there. That's where all my information about how to contact me, how to listen, how to watch, all that kind of stuff. And my show, my Arsenal show, is called Cheeto's Arsenal. It's on YouTube, and I always have good guests on there. We do a lot of fun things, post-match, in-depth analysis. We're going to start doing tactics pods as well. Very into tactics. So yeah, follow me there, and yeah, you'll see me there. Yay.
Listen, guys, follow this lady. She's absolutely brilliant. Her podcast, YouTube, her content is amazing. She's doing great stuff. Guys, if you liked this show today, please like, please subscribe, please share with your friends. Until next time, take care. Thank you.